Joining me now is Sky News contributor Louise Roberts and the Daily Express Royal reporter Pandora Forsyth. Louise, so much to unpack here with Harry's court hearing this week. Which bits really stood out for you?
Well, Caro, I think it's the irrefutable evidence that Harry is at war with absolutely everyone, not only individual members of his family and, of course, the boss of his charity. He's now taking on the government, saying they should have never discontinued his police protection. And I just think what a legacy he's creating for himself as well. And I think the whinging and the moaning and those front page headlines really encapsulate how I think people feel about Harry at the moment too. And also let's address this conspiracy theory that he's introduced, a rather robust one, saying that the privileges were stripped from him and Meghan in order to force them to stay in the UK as working royals. Now, if that's true, that would have been something that would have been presumably signed off by the Queen when they had the Mexit summit in Sandringham in 2020. This is before, of course, Harry and Meghan actually left the country. Now, I find it, if those threats were made very transparent to the royal family at the time, especially the Al-Qaeda threat, he's basically saying they were playing mind games in order to keep him in the country. I just find it absolutely staggering that the Queen would sign off on something like this, and also Charles and William, who of course were at that summit too, despite the bad blood clearly that was between them at the time.
Louise, does Harry have any point here? Like, is there any part of this that appears substantive? Obviously, he lost at first instance. This is an appeal. But is there any good that can really come of this for him?
Well, even if he does technically win the appeal, there's nothing to say that the security privileges will be reinstated. And what he will be left with is a very bad taste in the mouth of obviously the Met Police and the Home Office as well, who will be reluctant to engage with him on any level, I think, after this, given he's really taken them on. I mean, to actually sue the Met Police and the government, I think, is a crazy decision. Very unlikely to win in a way, but he's done it as a point of principle. In fact, he described this court case, while harrowing and emotionally draining for him to attend and actually hear the evidence, especially the secret evidence, which he says vindicated his position, to actually keep pursuing in this way just seems a bit mindless to me.
Pandora, an interesting report this week that, you know, is a corollary to this, but also separate and more broad, I think. A report that Harry's becoming less popular by playing the victim. Do you think that's the case?
Yeah, this is interesting. This is a comment actually from a royal author. Now, anybody who writes a book about the royals, obviously a lot of it is to do with commentary, but it's all put through legal. So bear that in mind when books do come out. Perhaps there is some smoke to the fire. But essentially, I mean, we sit here every week, don't we, ladies? And we talk about Harry and how the public reacts to it and how the media reacts to what is the latest in the headlines from him. And I think the issue is now with Harry is that we've heard all the secrets coming from the royal family and what happened behind those walls, whether that be in books, whether that be in interviews, and people are getting a little bit tired of the same old rhetoric coming out from him, and understandably so. We haven't heard anything really new coming out recently, and of course he's an extremely privileged individual. Yes, he has stepped down as a senior royal family member, but yet he is still a multi-millionaire living in a life of luxury, which many people can't afford to do. We're on the brink of recession. We'll talk about tariffs in a minute. I mean, I'm not an economic journalist, but I don't think you have to be one to understand what's happening with the world at the moment. And people are tired of hearing this man, who is in such a privileged position, moaning about what lots of people would just get on with. And I think especially the British, we have this phrase sort of like, you know, just get on with things, you know, power through. And perhaps that's not great when it comes down to mental health. But when it does come down to lots of situations, you just have to power through. And unfortunately, lots of people who were on Prince Harry's side from a public perspective, we now do polls at the Daily Express, and a lot of them are leading to actually, no, we don't have a lot of patience now for Harry, which is a shame, because at one point he was one of the most popular royals for us in the UK. So it's a very sad set of circumstances, actually.
Absolutely. It really is a sad set of circumstances, and I don't know how or when it can possibly get better.